The great news is you're already enough. You always have been and you always will be.
Welcome to the Wild and Free with Anna Love podcast. I am your host, Anna Love. Wild and Free was born to inspire women to release old patterns that have kept them from living their best life. As a subconscious freedom specialist, I strive to reprogram and reframe generational trauma, not only in myself and the lives of my 3 daughters, but for those who are ready to transform anxiety, fear, and shame into authenticity, freedom, and love. Whether you are 20 years old or 70 years young, buckle up for raw and honest explorations in doing the work necessary so that you may shine your brightest light from your heart and onto the lives of others.
Welcome to Wild and Free with Anna Love podcast. I am so thrilled and excited that you are here today because we are diving into the most tender but powerful truths that can change your entire life. And why do I say this? Because every single client, including myself, has come up against this limiting belief that I am not enough. So no matter how many women or men that I work with, when I start pulling back the layers of what's really going on in their world that they want to shift, but they don't really know what's underneath the reality that they're seeing. When we start pulling back those layers, we always find out that it comes down to somewhere along the line of their life, they started to create a story or a version of them, even if it's just one part of them, where they believed wasn't enough. And wasn't enough for who? It's usually about someone, meeting someone else's needs rather than being enough for themselves. Because guess what? We're born being enough with ourselves and for ourselves. We are whole and complete upon birth. And then we start to have things that come into our lives. So let's get into it. I don't want to jump the gun. I want to go into consecutive order here. Let's jump into this, but just know you are enough just as you are. So let's take a deep breath together, breathing in and breathing out. And if you've ever felt like you're constantly chasing worthiness or trying to prove yourself, never quite measuring up, you are not alone. This is something that I see in every client, and it doesn't matter if they are a high achieving professional or a parent who's just decided to be a stay-at-home parent, or just a person without children, right? It could be anyone, man, woman, it does not discriminate. Worthiness or lack of worthiness does not discriminate. So if you're listening to this right now, I truly believe there's a part of you ready to hear this and ready to release that old story, ready to release or at least talk to that part of you that has and holds this belief. Because it's not us in our entirety, and it's not the real us that holds that belief. It's a part of us that thought that they needed to hush down or quiet down who we truly were in order to, most of the time, get attention, get connectedness, right? So you can take yourself back to being a child. I'd like you all to journey with me back to your childhood. And we are conditioned to believe that love and worthiness must be earned. And it's not usually said to us directly, but it's in the indirect, in ways that people either the way their energy is to us or their responses, or they might have a side remark, something that they say under their breath. Maybe it's just a look that they give you or a voice tone. But think about it. When you're born, you only know how to cry, poop, pee, eat, right? But you know that everything needs to come from that caregiver. So you know that you're dependent on an unconscious level. You know that you're dependent on someone else. Someone else. That's why we cry out. And babies have different needs at different times. Maybe they have a cry for hunger that sounds different than a cry for on board, which sounds different from a cry of my butt is wet, right? Come change me. But the baby has different needs. Now, depending on the relationship between the caregiver and that infant, from a very, very, very tiny age, infancy, we start to form beliefs and opinions about ourselves. And you're probably saying, well, how could a baby do that? It's in the emotions, it's in the imprint of the relating, because we are born with the ability to feel emotions. And if somebody snaps at us, we know that it's scary. Our body will jump. It feels scary. And where the trouble comes in is when we start to make meaning, and that happens later in life. We start to make meaning. But at a very, very young age in infancy, we know if we're hungry and someone doesn't come and give us the bottle, we know, we learn that we must not matter. There must be something there that I guess I'll just wait. I guess I'll just wait. I guess. And then babies eventually will stop crying, by the way. They just learn to override their needs to please another person. And it starts at a very, very, very young age. So as we grow, that belief will form into actual words, right? It could sound like in your brain, that voice, maybe it's not talking to you as a baby, but when you get a little bit older, that voice will turn into a negative loop that'll say, I don't matter, I'm not worthy, or in order for me to get attention, I need to do X, Y, and Z. And this comes from caregivers who were wounded themselves. Okay. This is very important. The generations before us may or may not have been wounded themselves by their parents at a very young age. And if it's unresolved, if it never gets, worked out, I don't like to use the word fix, but if it never gets resolved, then it stays with us and then we inadvertently give it to our offspring. So societal pressures is another way that we learn to abandon ourselves and learn that we are not worthy. Comparison in our culture, especially as women and especially as men, we're taught what we're supposed to do to be manly. What does a real boy, say or not say? What is he allowed to feel or not feel? And women are taught to look a certain way, be a certain way, override our judgments. And I'm not saying it's exclusive to sexes, but it's a little bit different for each of us because of the gender bias. And then that turns into the inner critic. Okay. And the inner critic is that voice that's in our head that we actually think is us, but it's really an echo of the external critic from everyone else around us. So, what is the cost of chasing this worthiness? What is the cost of living in this energy? Because everything is energy. And when we have an energy body of I am not enough, it exhausts us, right? It pulls our energy from us and puts that energy into places where we are overdoing. We are overcompensating. All right. We turn into overwhelmed humans. We may be trying to be perfect, right? Because perfection may equal success. Perfection may equal love, right? This was one of my biggest ones, was people pleasing. And I didn't have the success bug back when I was young because I learned that it's better to not try, right? It's better to not try and fail. Just don't try. Don't overexert yourself. Don't be in competition with anyone else because then you'll have to put yourself out there. And if you lose, then that's going to feed into the unworthiness. So I just didn't apply myself, right? I took the easy way out back then. And I also became a people pleaser, which was, spoon fed to me to be that way. And that's okay. It is what it is. But I no longer have that as my identity. I no longer struggle with that like I used to. Fear of being truly seen, that was something that I was really struggling with up until recently. Constant self judgment, that was something that I remember as a teenager. constantly judging people all around me. I had everything to say about everyone, right? And I didn't learn until much, much later that that was a big sign that I was judging myself, because when you judge yourself first, then that's actually what you project on to the world. And you think that everyone's judging you. That's why you're judging them. You're trying to self protect. So it's this crazy little circle, right? And how about the inability to rest? Has anyone ever dealt with that? I just want you to sit with that for a moment. So here's the great news. I'm about to tell you something mind blowing. You are actually already enough. And I touched on it in the beginning. You are born enough. You've always been enough. You always will be enough. There's nothing that you can do that will take that enoughness away, because you are put here by Source, and Source believes that you are enough. You have breath. You have a soul. You are that soul. You're not this body. You're just in this body. So if you look at yourself and you say, this body is not good enough, well, that's actually not true. You chose this body to come into for a reason, for an evolution of your soul. So the great news is you're already enough. You always have been and you always will be. Okay. Worthiness is not something to be earned. And the sooner you let that go, the sooner you can get to loving yourself and giving yourself what it is that you're looking for from the external, from other people, from culture, from society, from grandma, from grandpa, from sisters, from mothers, from fathers, from teachers, from your boss, from your friends. Okay. Your worthiness is not tied to your productivity. It's just not. It may look that way because you could be super productive. You could earn a big title, have a big career, get a big bank account. But at the end of the day, ask yourself, do you feel worthy, or do you need that thing in order to, is it tied to your worthiness? And I'm here to say it's not. You may think that it is, right? It may be your truth, but it's not true worthiness. All right. Is your worthiness tied to your appearance? Do you have to look perfect when you go out? Do you have to date somebody who looks perfect? Do you have to perfect everything before you go on camera or go out? And I'm not saying be, you know, be dirty if you're going on a date. No, take a shower and fix yourself up, and you're here to shine. So shine, whether you want to put a little mascara on, make yourself embellished. That's beautiful. I love that. That's not what I mean. But there are some people who feel as though they can't go out in public without makeup, without mascara, without looking like a perfect 10, right? On a scale of 0 to 10, right? Is your worthiness connected to a relationship status? Like I just mentioned, do you have to date someone who's a celebrity, someone who has a high title, someone who has high money? And high money is great because that gives us financial freedom. But high money comes with, maybe it's attached to their lack of worthiness too, right? So you have to look at how your energy is bringing in other people who also have the same belief of, I am not enough. And then you go off into the sunset, both feeling not enough, right? And that doesn't feel full. That doesn't feel like you could be your whole self. And finally, does your worthiness attach to your achievements? Right? Look at all that you've accomplished. And I feel that we are here to accomplish what our soul is here for, what our purpose is here for. But are we doing other things for other people? Did we find ourselves going to college to be a lawyer for our father? Did we find ourselves putting our love for music or art down because our mother or father wanted us to go a different way? Right? This is a big deal, and it happens in a lot of cultures, and it happens even without it being cultural. It just may be, our parents saying to us, you need to go make something of yourself. And when you get that title, you may have the title and your parent feels great about you, but you don't feel great about you because you went for title as opposed to purpose. Take a deep breath. Here's what you can know and really take into your heart. No matter how you may be showing up in your imperfections, you are still enough. Your messy parts, your shadow sides, nothing diminishes your self-worth. If anything, they make you whole and complete, right? Because now you are fully accepting your humanness, fully accepting who you are. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with refining. There's nothing wrong with learning and growing and expanding. I think that's a beautiful thing. And everyone has the potential to do that. But don't let that define your worth because you're already worthy without it. So here are just a few things that you can do to really anchor in your worthiness. Okay. If you're used to doing it the ways that I just mentioned, let's look at a new way. Number one, become aware. I say that with anything and everything. You have to be aware of what you are doing. What are your patterns? What are your habits? What are the inner loops talking to you? Listen, pay attention. Stop running so fast. Get your head out of the fog. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Feel into how does it feel? Become aware. Notice when that voice creeps in. Notice what it's saying. And then talk back to it. Say, no, thank you. I hear you. And that's not true. I'm not going to accept that. Right? Just talk to the voice. The voice isn't you. Talk to it. Right? The second thing is have compassion for all that's been going on. Have compassion for that voice and how it's talking to you. That's actually a part of you. It's not you. It's a part of you called the ego, part of your ego that wants to look a certain way, be a certain way for approval. Acknowledge that part of your ego and say, thank you for being here. I see what you're doing. You're protecting me. You thought you needed to be here, but I'm here to tell you, you've been helping me, but you've also been in my way and I want to grow. And I need you to just simmer down. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't need to be so strong. Right? Offer kindness to yourself instead of criticism, instead of saying, shut up, self. I hate you, self. Go away, self. That's not what we want to do. We want to anchor into the kindness and compassion for that voice. All right. Allowing yourself to release now. Once you become aware and once you've said, thank you for doing what you're doing, and I no longer want that, right? I no longer align with that energy around those words of that inner critic, then it's time to release. Yeah. Release whatever it is, the perfectionism, the overachieving, right? Release the need to be overwhelmed because sometimes we get addicted to the overwhelm. We get addicted to the people pleasing. We get addicted to the perfectionism. We get addicted to what comes with all of that. Yeah. And then it's really important once you do those three things that you repeat and recycle. Rinse, repeat, recycle. That means just do it again. Keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it because you're creating new patterns. You're creating new habits. Yeah. Start saying what you want instead. I am worthy. I used to write a couple years ago, I wrote, I am enough on all of the mirrors in my house so that my girls would see it, how I would see it going into the bathroom. I wrote it in red lipstick. You can take it off later. I put it on sticky notes. I put it on my phone. I had an app called I Am, and it would feed me I am enough affirmations all day long because you're rewiring, you're reprogramming, right? Someone programmed you in the beginning. Now you're intervening and saying, no, I'm going to do it my way. I am enough as I am. I do not need to prove myself to anyone. All right. And then finally, embody it, feel it, notice where in your body you feel not enough and breathe into those spaces. Allow yourself to let it dissolve. Notice it. Give it a new meaning, give it a new feeling, give it a new sensation of warmth and love and joy and acceptance. Yeah. And grace and gratitude. Love, grace, and gratitude. I have those three tattooed on my body. Why? Because they're the most important words. And faith, that's another one. I don't have that one on there yet. All right. So close your eyes unless you're driving. You can listen to this later. Close your eyes and just take a moment now to anchor in this truth. Take a deep breath in and let go and feel your body supported and grounded and loved. And repeat after me silently or aloud, whatever feels good for you. I am enough. I am worthy of love and belonging. I am allowed to rest in my enoughness. I release the need to prove myself. I trust that who I am is more than enough. And just breathe that in and know that this truth is yours to carry forward. Yeah, so if this resonated with you, I would ask you to please share it with someone who needs to hear this or someone that you love or care about. If this message speaks to you, know that you are on the journey of coming home to yourself. That's why you're here listening. That's why you tuned in. And if you'd like deeper support, I have ways that you could find me. Go to Instagram, Heal with Anna Love. And I have different programs. We can work one-on-one. You could come into my Life Design Hypnosis membership that I have on Mondays at 4 p.m. And I have another course called Blueprint to Freedom, which is a deeper dive. And inside this 6-week journey, I will give you the tools, hypnotherapy, neurolinguistic programming, timeline therapy, EFT tapping, all of the ways, somatics, all of the ways that I believe mind, body, and soul connect. And we allow you to get in touch with these limiting beliefs and these negative emotions and release them. I'd be honored to walk this path with you. And until next time, remember that you are enough and you are worthy and you are wild and free. With so much love, until next time, take care.
Ready to take the next step in designing a life you love? The Life Design Blueprint membership is your all access pass to exclusive tools, live guidance, and transformational support to help you move from self doubt to self worth. Building on the principles from the Design a Life That Lights You Up ebook, this membership is a deeper dive into creating a life that aligns with who you truly are. You will go beyond surface level self help with hypnotic techniques and live discussions that create real lasting change in your mindset and life. You will receive ongoing support from me and connect with a community of like minded women on a similar journey. Each week, I deliver an empowering hypnosis which offers a unique way of working with your subconscious to reframe limiting beliefs, elevate self worth, and reinforce positive habits. All of our sessions will be recorded and added to our on demand library for easy access to members. Join me by clicking the link below, and I'll see you on the inside. Well, thank you so much for tuning into Wild and Free with Anna Love and being a part of this magical journey with me. If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe and share with someone you love, even someone you just like. Bonus points if you leave a review. Show notes below gives you everything that you'll need to know, and I'll see you next time. So long for now.